So I assume we're going to do some chatting about mansplaining first.
Yeah, we're going to read the script.
Oh, right. Okay. Who gets to be the guy? Who
I don't
gets
know.
To be, like
Rochambeau for it?
Like, who... He's like an off-brand Onassis. Like, he seems like a guy who thinks he's an Onassis.
He's a tycoon.
Right, but he's not at all.
He's not.
He's just this tragic guy. Who has the bigger, just like, flaming cunt inside them, Daniel? You or me? Because that's what we need to challenge here.
I think it might be you.
Look,
but at the same time,
I'm not going to discount that. I really to genuflect in the direction of a defense there would be nothing more than polite fiction for no one's benefit.
But on the other hand, I think I've got more of the vainglorious wanker streak in me. I mean, just
vainglorious is not a word I have heard since reading like trashy high fantasy like 15 years ago. That's so good.
But there's just he's this guy who thinks he's really something, and he's like, you know, narcissistic, puffed up ego. Now we're in my bailiwick.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about my wheelhouse? Let me tell you.
I still have to write this intro.
Okay. Maybe you need to. Oh,
what if you off to Kylie?
No. What if you want to get a bit meta?
Like,
what if you want to spend the first half of the intro mansplaining?
Mansplaining. Now you see, that's when.
Yeah. Well, you see. No. What's the joke?
Well,
actually, that's right.
Hey, Kylie.
Hey.
What you got?
Hey, Kylie Sturgis. What are you doing?
Oh, wow, you actually got a copy of the thing.
Yeah, books that we discussed, absolutely.
Hey, Daniel Midgley, what are you doing?
Not much, Ben. How's your day?
So we play this game called... who's the singer from the B-52s? What's his name?
Fred Schneider.
Fred Schneider. Yeah, we've got a game called Friday at Schneider's where we all just do it in a circle.
Hey, you see that kind of sign down the side of the...
So we all say in unison, like in Fred Schneider voice, like, "Hey, Daniel Midgley, what are you doing?" And then you just have to say the most bullshit random thing you can possibly imagine.
What do people say?
Give it to me, right?
Hey there, Ben. What are you doing?
I'm writing love through the clouds.
Okay.
Or just like, I'm licking a seal's ear hole.
Well, that's kind of interesting. You know, I went to ABC on like last Monday for my bit, and they play songs, and so the track they played was, and now here's one from the B-52s. I said, "Don't be Love Shack. Don't be Love Shack.
Definitely Love Shack."
It was Love Shack.
Yeah, of course it was.
Of course, it's Love Shack, because that's like the ultimate like wedding reception song.
It's either Love Shack or it's their other one, Rock Lobster, right?
Yeah.
And it's never going to be Rock
It's
Lobster.
never going to be Rock Lobster because it's like 9 minutes.
They never play the girl from Ipanema Goes to Greenland.
That is a brilliant song.
I love that.
They never play Theme from a Nude Beach. They never.
No.
I feel like the B-52s were a lot more avant-garde than people gave them credit for.
Yeah.
They were
Big time.
weird AF, man.
Yeah.
And even if you watch Love Shack, just watching that video, because you've heard Love Shack so many times. It's like My Sharona, right? Like you've heard it so many times. And then if you're me and you weren't alive when the song came out and you see the music video, you're just like...
You were alive for Love Shack, excuse
What? No.
Yeah,
Really? Love Shack
90s.
was like...
1990.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was earlier than that.
No, it was when they had their revival, when suddenly it became popular.
So what do you think when you see this video? What goes through your mind?
I kind of sit there being like, oh, you hung out with heaps of artists, like clearly,
Yeah.
right?
Or part of the scene.
And so that's when I started going, oh, I should probably maybe take a closer look. Because until then, the B-52s were just that kind of vaguely
Kitschy.
annoying, weird, kitschy band.
Okay, but you go back to their first two albums, and it's like really surf rocky. I mean, of course, Rock Lobster, but I mean, it just works, and it's amazing. And they're still touring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They're still. I saw them like a couple of years ago in Seattle, and it was just
Fun,
fantastic.
I would
Wouldn't have
imagine.
missed it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
I-
I always loved Candy, the one that the singer did with Iggy Pop.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Okay, but if you really want to go nuts, you got two ways to go. You've got Martini Ranch, which had the actor Bill Paxton. And I know, right?
Game over,
All the
man.
feels.
Game over.
What are we going to do now? New man.
Cindy was on it, and Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo was on that album, and it was just, it wasn't great, but
it was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah, they got him in.
And the other thing that you want to check out Fred Schneider's solo album from 1985.
Holy shit!
Right, Fred Schneider and the Shake Society, which had Monster. There's a monster in my pants, and it does a nasty
I've
dance.
heard that one. Oh my!
By the way, my vocal range is about the same as Fred's, so he's like singing it just as badly as I just did.
Good.
But that's not the one everyone focuses on. The one that you should really focus on is "It's Time to Kiss," which is like this funk-driven make-out duet with Patti LaBelle. Fred Schneider and Patti LaBelle singing "It's Time to Kiss."
How did this? So, Michael, like that's when I watched Love Shack. And I'm like, how did this like maniac convince all these people to do all this stuff?
He's the luckiest man in show business.
Yeah, maybe.
I think one day we got to do a one of those late night shows on RTRFM, maybe an Up Late or a snooze button, where we just play all these
Tristan,
kinds of songs.
just Tristan show.
Snooze button where we just. Oh my gosh, we should just do it. Like the next time I have to do like a mag or something like that, I'll just
all B-52s all the time,
just,
but like guaranteed not to be any of the tracks you've ever heard before.
All the really, way
We're going
out
into
there
the
tracks.
deep cuts, motherfucker.
Yeah,
just all the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Not even
'Cause it's
B-52s, just like the First Beat Happening album and like.
I think you just want difficult listening. You just want to go through like a quick avant-garde pop music
Godly
influence.
and Cream with Strange Apparatus. Here we go.
It'll be weird, but it won't be avant-garde. It won't be difficult listening. It'll just be like, what are you doing? That's why I think it should be like Snooze Button.
Right.
Yeah.
Shall we do a show? Question for you two, as sort of, I don't want to throw you under any buses here, but as at least one time's adherence to both skepticism and atheism, right? Which I know you both still purport to very much hold true to yourselves, but you've been expressing some issues that you've been having with those scenes for a little while. So my question to you is mansplaining kind of endemic to those worlds, do you think?
It's endemic everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, what you get involved with. It could be something as simple as going down to your local church meeting, going shopping, heading out to your school, hopping onto a bus. It doesn't have to happen at an atheist meeting. It doesn't happen to happen within a particular cultural group. You're going to bump into it everywhere.
The problem is that I think the atheist and the skeptic movement is encountering these kinds of issues and not doing as well as I would have hoped about it. But we're trying our best to change things, as we can.
My question was kind of motivated by your statement there right at the end, like this idea. Can you explain it to me rationally? Because I can just see that really low-hanging fruit within those worlds of like, you've got a slightly wrong idea. Look, I'll clear that up for you.
Yeah, smart-assery occurs everywhere, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate if you start labelling yourself as being in the right, being in the know, having all the information at your fingertips. Oh, I'm an expert in this field. You got to realise you are human too, and you can make mistakes, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to communicate it in the best way possible.
So, Kylie, before we go down the rabbit hole of this egregious incident, and before we check in with the news, can we just get a taste of the universality? What's a mansplaining sitch that has happened to you in the last 7 days?
Well, the first thing that popped into mind is an example of aggression that I saw happening at the traffic lights when I was crossing over in Perth, and it wasn't. Well, it was aimed at a gentleman who was a businessman of Asian background, and this guy essentially cut him off as we were crossing over and then just started abusing him verbally. And this other guy, young man in a business suit, I noticed absolutely nobody else was standing up for him. And maybe I too felt myself sort of blanking over at the sound of someone just mouthing, "Oh, what do you think?" Because I hear that all the time.
It's quite natural as well, isn't it, to hear that kind of yuckiness and just inherently want to shrink away from it because it's gross, it's toxic.
And something in me went, no, I am an older woman. I have...
Sorry,
the latest...
Can we cut that out
Luke,
for a promo later?
Luke, I am your mother came through. My Jedi mindset seriously kicked in. I thought, I have a really heavy country road latest season handbag with me. This guy is going to get it if he continues doing this. So I immediately assumed bulldog stance
Nice.
at the lights, which I'm certain many of you know your mother has done at the front doorstep when you've come home late. And I just looked at this guy and said, who do you think you are treating? You cut him off at the lights. And he said, well, actually...
There we go. Ding, 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 ding.
Well, actually, he's a visitor to my country. And I said, you do not go down that direction, young man.
Wow.
How dare you?
What, how could he possibly have known that? Was he literally just been like, that's a funny coloured person?
Because he wasn't white like he
actually.
and I were. And I leant over to the guy in the business and I said, you okay? He said, yes, I'm okay. I said, how dare you? How dare you make these assumptions to this guy? And you could see him, and I thought, I'm going to have to use this handbag. And he better watch out, because there's a couple of really nice volumes on narrative analysis in it too, so it's a bit heavy.
Look, I probably only get one shot, but that first shot's going to be a doozy.
It's going to be a doozy, and I thought everybody else is going to... I mean, you've seen images of, Nazi youth being attacked by little old ladies in handbags, and I thought, I'm stepping in the shoes of the righteous here. But he started to back off, even though he was mouthing off, and then eventually just and trotted off down the street. And I just leant over to the guy in the business suit and said, you sure you're okay? Because, I mean, that guy was a loser. And he said, yeah, I'm very sure. Okay. So, well, you have a very nice night. Hitched my handbag over my shoulders and bulldog walked my way across the lights as you do.
Now, the really important part of this, other than, of course, acknowledging your bravery in the face of bigotry, which is wonderful,
But the thing that gets me is how many other times I may have heard it, and I just blanked it. It was just this one time I stood up, and I thought, I was scared. I mean, that was why I hitched the handbag, and I thought, position my feet, ready for attack. And it was interesting. No one else blinked, moved towards me, or anything.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. That's society.
Effect,
yeah, that's just hugely common.
Yeah, but all it takes is for one person just to stand next to me and that guy, and then suddenly there's 3 of us eyeing this guy down. Or suddenly there's 4 of us eyeing him. And then he backs off a little bit damn faster.
I always go the licking the face option. If someone's being unreasonable, just go in and straight away lick their face.
You probably get away with it.
You just lick their face
cute,
because
me,
that is just such a cognitive circuit breaker. Like, you can be so angry, and if someone just slowly, and that's important, just really slowly licks your face, it's very hard to maintain a rant. You're like, you goddamn useless visit.
I think I was just channeling, the stereotype of the very angry mum.
Is there a chance that as you, because you're so hopped up on adrenaline, as you wish this guy a very good day, in your head it was like, well, you have a nice day, and it came out as like, have a nice day!
No, I was like, we're in the right here. We are allowed to frickin' cross a road in Australia without being told that we don't belong here. Yeah.
There is no natural high quite like moral superiority, is there?
Well,
and that's not a dig either.
That's why you have to be so careful with that stuff, because we do feel it. When we feel like a religion or something is harming people's rights, it's very easy to hop on the high horse, right? And I
feels good.
That's my high horse saddle is well worn.
Yeah. Those buckaroos, them sit bones, they've made nice little divots.
You've never licked anyone's face.
I have absolutely licked faces.
Oh Lord!
Look,
remind me never to get into a fight with you.
I want to be abundantly clear.
Handbags and licking all over the place.
I have not only licked people's faces in the context that I just described, but also a plethora of other tangentially face-licking related situations.
In fact, Justine Labastide, in her novel Liar, she has a language expert come to a class of students, because the main character is a young high school student, and talk about how the C word is commonly used amongst Australian men to refer to each other, but never referred to women.
Interesting.
Well, I played that bit, didn't I, from Scott Hutchison from Frightened Rabbit a long time ago. Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
I want to ask you about the word cunt. It appears a few times in your songs.
It certainly does, yeah.
Now, how is that word different in your variety of English than in other varieties of English?
Well, it's there's a very specific... in Scotland, it's has to be reasonably hushed here, because in a hotel lobby.
Oh.
but such as a line, such as kicking one's cunting is used in Scotland not as a literal term, as in actually to aim a foot at that particular part of the anatomy. It's more about, it's a much more general term than that. It can be, someone can be a lovely cunt, someone can be an awful. But I think the problem with the translations, particularly in the United States, and whenever that word comes up, there's a little intake of breath, especially in the more kind of poignant personal songs, whereby I think it's too literally taken. So the translation can be difficult for that one, but it's a very specific Scottish thing where it can be used in a variety of modes.
Well, that's true for Australian English, at least Western Australian English. A cunt's just a guy.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, there's what somebody once said, I looked in the car and there were 3 cunts and a chick. Specifically not a woman. So,
no.
It's not very polite, but it's much more accepted here.
Yeah, but I would never really use that word to reference women at all. I think that would be a terrible thing, but I'll happily call my friends that.
It's not a swear I would ever use, though I would call someone a dick.
Oh, God, I use it all the time.
Okay.
Really?
All the time, yeah. I love it. Such a good word.
But you have to be careful.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I've said it to too many year 7s in a single day, I know I need to rein myself in.
Let's see. I think the solution here is that these things have to be publicized very publicly, so that we have to have lots of transparency, so that
Ben Ainsley doesn't rock himself to sleep, suckling his own thumb, going, "They're going to read my lips through the window."
Whose thumb were you going to suck?
Mine, definitely mine. Yeah.
He licks faces, but he sucks his own thumb.
Yes. A man's thumb is his own suckle friend.
I need to have a track.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
I've got a good camera.
Oh, yeah. That's so
pretty predatory.
Oh, man.
Do you think licking the face would have got her out of that situation any faster? That's my
look,
question.
I think that's one of the very few examples where I think licking the face would have made things infinitely worse.
I guess so.
In a recent interview, the guy who wrote the book The Gift of Fear, and he talks about how the most telling thing for him is he'll walk into seminars and stuff, and he'll ask the men in the room, like, when was the last time... No, sorry. He's conducted lots and lots of research, and he'll ask men in interview situations, like, when was the last time you felt genuinely, physically in danger, right? And uniformly, men are like...
Whereas I say, well, this week when I saw a guy abusing another guy on the street.
Exactly. And so when he asks women that question, it's not necessarily so much that they say a particularly recent time, but they don't have to pause.
No.
Right? Like, they don't have to think about it. They go, 2 months ago when this particular thing happened. Like, whereas if you ask that question to me, I'd be like,
I was 13.
Someone beep at you at traffic recently and you honestly thought they were going to get out of the car and get you?
Like, if I had to answer the question, I'd be like, I guess, like a couple of road rage incidents on the bike. But it's still me going, oh, God, I'm going back a while. So, yeah, it's telling.
And anyone who has watched the Talk the Talk vodcasts that we do, particularly the Patreon people, you may have noticed at the beginning of every single show I've got a book that I recommend very subtly reading at the beginning of the program, and I did it today with Rebecca Solnit's Men Explain Things to Me and other essays, and I'll make a list of other books that not only I recommend, I think others who are interested in encouraging the awareness of this issue should recommend books as well.
What about yes and Kylie, yes and a Talk the Talk reading list.
We need to do that.
We need to do that, and I think we should be I'm working on a list of books.
Yeah, so. like just to like, we could have like a Ben list, a Kylie list, and a Daniel list, or we could just have like a Talk the Talk curated essential guide to not being a garbage human.
Yeah, we've got the summer coming up. I think it's a good opportunity for people to start piling up these books, and then you too can read by the pool and be intelligent and witty and as charming as Lara was on our show.
If you have a JJ, it's going to be absurdity all round. I'm grabbing onto that one. That's beautiful. Ben Ainsley brief digression time. Friends of mine went to visit their family in Sydney, and they all went for a big trip up to the Blue Mountains, and in the Blue Mountains they came across this really weird, creepy store that sold gollywogs.
Yeah.
I have heard of this, yeah.
Gollywog store, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they were all driving, like, no mention made, right? They were all driving back, and my friends said to their family, like, what, did you guys cop the Gollywog store? That's pretty crazy, right? To which their family, who are a little bit more sort of like Middle Australia, were like, well, what's wrong with that? Oh. And my friend, who's not like... who doesn't necessarily always engage in conversations, say, like the way us three do in this space about like the deeper meanings of heaps and heaps of stuff or anything like that, said this just insanely poignant thing that he conveyed to me what he said to his brother, which was like, you aren't the one who gets to decide what the racist thing is. I'm sorry. And mansplaining is exactly the same way. Like you don't get to be the one who decides whether that was or that wasn't, because that person gets to decide that. Now, you can disagree if you want, but like you've said, doing that out loud is super counterproductive.
It's pointless.
It's
pointless.
just absolutely pointless.
And sorry.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
I defer to you a lot, you know.
You do know it's really important that we do it, and that's one of the things that we do on this show. If I feel like I have to have a say, I'll physically signal, and you guys always pick up.
I hate
on
that.
It. But no, I
hate that you feel like you have to do that.
No, but that's normal. That's
but
radio, right?
It's radio as well.
Yeah, but how many times do I do it? Maybe sometimes.
Yeah, no, you do a little bit. Sometimes you put your little finger up and you're like, I've got this.
We can all do that.
Over time, it's become less and less that's something I feel like I have to do, which is
I think
useful.
That's a bit of a hive mind thing
It's
as well.
also-
Like
yeah,
we're
we get
really
used to each
clicking
other.
into each other's.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great Patreon little like how the sausage gets made. Yeah.
Hello.
Do you know what I really want to know? Did he know?
Did he know?
Does he
He
know?
doesn't even have an email address.
I know, but this is what I mean. This is a kind of a thing, right? It turned into a bit of a
Well, it
thing.
has-
His friends probably have the book face.
He's not going to know. He's not going to find out.
And
if he did find out, he wouldn't recognize
not
it in
me.
himself.
No.
He wouldn't recognize himself in this story.
True.
No.
Okay.
And you can always hit us up on social media. Not only we do have... she's fucked up. Oh.
Let's all stare at Kylie while she tries to do it a third time.
I've got a handbag and I'm not afraid to use it. Luke, I am your mother.
Yeah, but it's out of the books aren't in it anymore. Ha ha!
It's still pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah, I believe you.
I carry so much shit around.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Stop doing it. I'm going to come over there and lick your face, man.
Do you promise to do it slowly?
Oh, no.
He licks back.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is the thing. You threaten any kind of physical activity, and I know who's winning a game of face lick chicken.
Oh,
This guy.
yeah, exactly.
This guy.
He's like, no.